Video games are great. No, but really. The PlayStation 2 was way ahead of its era, and in my personal opinion, changed the way that we see video games nowadays, even more so with the JRPG genre. We were given so many revolutionary games during this time. The console gave way to so many games that stayed in our hearts for so many years. Even to this day, these games have such an impact on perspective on life as a whole. I could name off so many games from this era that left a lasting impression on me. Some people might consider these hidden gems, but honestly, with the fan base behind these games, they might as well be a goldmine. The year was 2004, and the PlayStation 2 was the best-selling console at the time. The PS2 started a new generation of Megaten games, starting off with SMT3 Nocturne, which was a revolutionary game even for today's standards. We got the Rito games, where they decided to do away with the press turn combat and give us more of an action RPG element. What we're talking about today is going to be Digital Devil Saga Avatar Turner, which came in between Rito and Nocturne. Digital Devil Saga 1 was first released in Japan on July 15, 2004, and then we saw the Western release on April 5th, 2005. Digital Devil Saga 2 released 6 months later on January 27, 2005, a direct sequel to Digital Devil Saga 1. The final entry to the spin-off is going to be Quantum Devil Saga, which was first released on July 14, 2014. An alternative retelling of the plot from the original writer hired for the original synopsis, Yu Godai. DDS1's story takes place in the junkyard, an area that's a little dark, moist, and a little stinky. Along with the junkyard being split up into 6 different militaristic tribes. You got the Embryons, which includes Surf, silent but deadly, Heat, our local angry redhead, Argilla, my personal favorite, and gay as hell, Gale, which is an equivalent of a human computer, and Cielo, which is your basic stereotypical Caribbean insert. The Vanguards, led by Harley. My personal favorite, the Maribel, led by Janana. I love Janana so much, she's one of my favorite characters, and I'll do whatever it takes to protect her no matter what.
I've only had Arlo for a day and a half, but if anything happened to him, I would kill everyone in this room and then myself.
Very violent eulogy, I like it.
The Solids, led by Mick, and honestly, he doesn't have too much of a backstory in the game, so there's not much I can touch on. The Wolves, led by Lupa, and honestly, he's the softest boy around, do not mess with him. Last, and certainly least, the Brutes, led by Varen.
I am a Colonel. Colonel Beck.
Sorry, I meant Colonel Beck, jeez Christ. Digital Devil Saga first starts off with some weird action bullet time over a giant egg tentacle thing. Just don't ask me, I have no idea what that is. This sequence reminds me of something you'd see in a cheesy action movie from the early 2000s. All of a sudden, the giant anime tentacle egg explodes, possessing everyone, making them go all furry, vor crazy, and eat everyone. Okay. Everyone wakes up from their itis-induced coma with sick new tattoos that usually see people get on Friday the 13th. Inside of the egg, there's a girl named Sarah, but don't ask why she's naked. I don't even know myself why she's always naked. Surf and his ragtag team of misfits take the mysterious girl back to their base, and after conveniently eating most of the Vanguards. With Sarah safe at the base, you take your team of beautiful queers to storm the Vanguard's base looking for answers. After arriving to a conveniently empty base, Harley is the one that explains to everyone that you're the ones who ate everyone on the battlefield. After coming to terms with their lost humanity, they realize they can keep their hunger under control as long as they eat enough people. With getting little to no answers from Harley, they decide to return to the base where they're greeted with this.
Heat. That is Gale.
God, I love this cutscene, it's so good. Once everyone calms down from the looming fear of eating each other, you receive a message from the Karma Temple requesting all tribe leaders to meet up at the temple as soon as possible. As soon as you arrive to the Karma Temple, you realize you're fashionably late to the entire party. As soon as you settle in, the entire temple is overtaken by Angel, with this cryptic message intact.
I'm Jujubee. I love long walks on the beach, big and fried chicken.
Angel explains that the entire junkyard's under one new law. The new law is to devour each other in order to make it to Nirvana.
Devour your enemies. There is no other way to survive.
Angel demands you bring the black-haired girl, the Cyber Shaman, to the Karma Temple in order to get to Nirvana. Digital Devil Saga is a perfect narrative-driven game. While this game is considered a spin-off from the mainline SMT series and kinda rides the coattails of 2003's Nocturne's release, you know, the trailer you see in the special tab of Nocturne's menu. this trailer is so good. I'ma be straight with y'all. Digital Devil Saga is a perfect spin-off, while there's some flaws, you know, with the voice acting in some places.
What is sad?
I do not comprehend.
Oh, hush. That's enough from you.
You said the wolves would last longer than that.
Overall, the game's plot is very well written. Everything happens in DDS1 has something to do with DDS2. Like this, that, this, that, and this. Anyways, moving on. When I first played Digital Devil Saga, I was blown away by the setting and tone of this game was throwing at me. I was introduced to characters that had no emotions whatsoever until Sarah came along. They were almost robotic, having absolutely no life to them whatsoever. But once the plot starts moving and the character development is thrown in your face at light speed, and believe me, it's really fast, after the characters start getting into their own self-being, and I really started connecting with them, especially the supporting Embryon cast members. Each one of the characters had something unique about them that I just love. With Heat, he might seem like a complete jerk the entire game, but he really cares about his comrades very much. He's loyal to them. He hides his emotions behind anger and jabs at his friends, but you know, in a caring way. It's similar to how my friends and I interact with each other.
Hey, yourself.
Oh, what? No.
While Argilla lays her emotions out for everyone to see. She's very straightforward when it comes to her ideals and thoughts. Like Heat, she cares about her friends too, but she doesn't hide it behind personal jokes and anger. She cares about not throwing away life meaninglessly. Argilla wants to save and protect everyone she can. Then we got Gale, and oh boy, he really is something else. He doesn't show emotion whatsoever for most of the game. He looks at every situation logically, not considering anyone else's feelings. There were a lot of points where I was like, who is this man? Is he lost? Are you okay, sir? But after he started developing, I grew to like him more and more. Last but certainly not least, Cielo. I hated Cielo at first. He reminded me of the class clown kind of character that is really annoying on purpose. But once his character development started rolling and I started to understand him a lot more, I really started to like him as a character. Hiding all your insecurities behind jokes and being a punching bag for everyone, it really hit home for me. You know you're getting that really good character development when their eyes do the weird piercing glow thing.
Well, nothing upstairs. Say Spanish. No.
I hear this joke all the time about how SMT dungeons are always 90-degree hallways, and everything feels the same. But honestly, I never felt like this was the case, especially with Digital Devil Saga. Whenever you enter an area, it has this magical feeling to it. The suspense leading up to entering a dungeon, and when you enter it, you honestly don't know what's gonna happen next or what the game's gonna throw at you. Is there gonna be traps and or puzzles for you to figure out? Well, of course! There are always traps and puzzles in JRPG games, what are you kidding? But when it comes to Digital Devil Saga, it really tested me how I thought about things and how I should go about them. Two places where I struggled the most were Coordinate 136 and the tunnels. The Evil Prince trapdoor puzzle was genius, but god, I've never raged so much at a puzzle before. It's not even the trap floors that got me, it was the goddamn one-way doors. Every time I would go through one thinking it was the right one, I'd find myself dead-eyeing an Evil Prince painting and dreading the inevitable. The Samsara tunnels with the waterway puzzle was by far the hardest puzzle to do without a guide. Having a wave of rushing water tied to solar noise cycles was a stroke of genius, but also a fear-inducing nightmare when you know it's coming. Y'all thought I wasn't going to talk about the music in this game at all? Really? You guys think I wasn't going to talk about that? Well, you're wrong, because we're going to talk about the music now. Digital Devil Saga has one of the best OSTs in the entire Mega 10 franchise and is in my top 3 of favorite soundtracks of all time. Next to these ones, of course. Every time you roll up to a new area, the music makes the atmosphere perfect. You cannot help but to relax and enjoy the calming music before entering a new dungeon. It just takes you away. This was around the time Shoji Meguro started to be the lead composer in the SMT series, with Nocturne being the first time he was the leading musical director. And we all know how great Nocturne's soundtrack is. You can tell he poured his heart and soul into this OST. He even stated during an interview that Digital Devil Saga's OST was a major turning point in his career. Track after track, I couldn't help but be mesmerized by what I was hearing. Let's talk about the combat system. Basically, this game is your standard press turn combat. If you've played any other SMT games that use this mechanic, you have nothing to worry about. The part that makes Digital Devil Saga unique from a lot of the other games in the franchise is the Atma system. What really makes this combat fun and challenging is that you cannot recruit any demons in this game. You have the mantra system, which I absolutely love. Basically, with this ability system, you're able to pick and choose what skills you like to learn. Each character is a kind of jack of all trades once you get further into expanding your mantra system. What I always recommend is taking a character down an elemental path they're weak to in order to get the passive resist skills. Another thing I would recommend is dumping most of your points into Surf's magic stat because he's the hardest magic hitter in the game. I didn't want to go too in-depth on the character development at the beginning of the video because it's my favorite aspect of the game. There's so much character development in this first part of Digital Devil Saga that is just fantastic. You see it a lot with Gale, Heat, and Argilla the most. Some of the other characters have really good development, but in my opinion, these three right here, they probably have the best character development in the game besides Surf. With how Argilla and Janana, as soon as they meet, you can see a dramatic change in both their personalities. When they first meet eyes, you can tell they know each other from somewhere, but they don't know where exactly. You might say it's love at first sight. Their meeting together helps them regain their lost humanity. You see a lot of it after defeating Bat for the first time in the raid on the Solid's base. The cutscene that follows after the Bat fight is one of my favorite cutscenes with them. Even though they don't get too many cutscenes together, which is a shame, but it's fine, it's whatever, it's okay, I'm not mad, I'm okay. You slowly see Janana come into her own with a very forward comment towards Argilla.
We thank you, Janana.
Thank you. Such beautiful words. Follow me.
The best scenes with these two are before and after the Janana fight because, you know, it hits home. It really hits home, and I don't know how to describe it other than heart-wrenching. Janana didn't kill anyone needlessly just to keep herself alive, just like Argilla. Personally, these two together are my favorite dynamic, and it sucks we only got so little of them in this game.
Argilla, do not be sad. Finally, I have become your comrade.
Comrade?
Yes. Your comrade. Saying it feels right.
Now we have Heat. His development is kind of obvious when it's shown on screen. You can see him come into his own after the fight with Harley because of Sarah showing up out of nowhere. While he does care about his friends, you can see him care deeply for Sarah. You can see a lot of care in Heat's expressions when events are involved with Sarah. But again, I can't really explain too much because a lot of it's covered in Digital Devil Saga 2. I really don't want to touch on Sarah's character development until I cover DDS 2 because her character arc is heavily in that game. Lastly, we got Gale. You don't see a lot of development until you meet the Wolves leader Lupa. Gale goes from seeing things logically to thinking about emotions and not using calculated strategies. You could say that Lupa helped Gale find his lost humanity. This is where I think storytelling is at its best. Gale is someone who doesn't really care about emotions. Friendships and relationships aren't something he cared about at first, but when he met Lupa, he started to understand what it is to be human and care for somebody. You can see here killing Lupa hurt him to his core. He wanted him to survive and see his son.
Your honor does not die with you. I will find your son.
There are so many hints to why the junkyard exists and why none of them know how they got there, along with having no memory before the junkyard. This is where Varen comes in, making him the perfect villain to understand the overall arcing of the plot. Varen foreshadows that Surf isn't who he thinks he is, that he isn't as kind and selfless as everyone thinks. He also asks why Argilla and Heat follow him, because he claims that Surf killed them both. After you fight and kill him, Gale asks, "Why do you know everyone here but me?" Before he can answer, Varen tries to explain that Sarah is the reason why this hell of a place exists and that she casted everyone into it. This is where a lot of the self-awareness with the cast starts to come into play. With Varen dead, they search the mansion looking for Sarah, but she's nowhere to be found. All of a sudden, they realize they know things they shouldn't, like Cielo pointing out that he knew what a cat was without even ever seeing one before. And Gale says, "We know about children and parents, but none of those things are in the junkyard. The group finds out that Sarah's now missing and ended up going to the Karma Temple. She remembers everything, where she came from and why the junkyard exists. The guards, after having their code rewritten, recognize Sarah as the cyber shaman and call her mother, which implies that she created them. Before beating the game, make sure to talk to James Mason outside the Karma Temple. This is an important step for a side quest in DDS2. It's so cool they add these extra pieces of dialogue and lore into side quests, and just how they do it and present it is perfect. This is why I love early Atlas game design. Naturally, you have to chase after and have to climb a huge final dungeon this game has to offer. To be honest, there isn't much to cover here. There are plenty of bosses all repeating the same line. Cyber Shaman told me not to let you pass, blah, 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 blah. But once you get to the top of the tower, you get a face-to-face introduction with Angel. At first, I was wondering why show a new character at the end of the game like this? And then I realized there's a reason this is happening right now. Sarah begs Angel to leave the junkyard alone and she will go back with her if she does so. There's a lot of setup to the next game in just this last bit of cutscenes. Angel talks about the demon virus that she made and how Sarah is so keen on how to use it. This is where the final boss of the game starts. You fight Angel, trying to seek out answers for everything that's going on. Personally, this is my favorite fight in the entire game. How the battle mechanics work and just the whole atmosphere of the fight. It has the best battle track in the game and I'd be blaring that track before I go to bed. Plus, Angel's avatar design is very well put together and fits into the game perfectly. The game ends with you defeating Angel without getting any explanation to the past events. Surf attacks Angel for the final blow, but it's blocked by the deletion virus in her hand. The junkyard's deletion speeds up and is erased from existence. Everyone runs to the gate as Surf tries to catch up with everyone while the Karma Temple crumbles beneath his feet. The embryons, along with Sarah and Angel, are enveloped by light. Sarah reaches out for Surf and they barely miss grabbing each other. Before the light takes them completely, Sarah says, "I won't stop looking for you." And then the credits roll, setting you up for the next game. The way the events set up for the next game are perfect. You're still left with so many questions as the credits roll. You want that closure and the answers to why everything is happening. It makes a lot of sense why Atlas broke this game up into 2 parts. It totally has nothing to do with the PS2's limits at the time. Don't ask questions. The last thing I want to touch on before wrapping up this video is the optional side content and how the game sets it up. You know, in every JRPG there's a lot of optional side content and bosses. How DDS sets up its optional super bosses is absolutely amazing and adds so much to the overall game. You have to revisit areas you've been to before in order to fight these bosses. You have to find 3 keys in order to delete the colored barriers you've seen throughout the entire game. You could look up a guide, but you got dear old Mama Claire to tell you exactly where to go. The blue key is in Harley's room and is available after you unlock the Matra Grid. The yellow key is in a rare chest on the 6th floor in coordinates 136. And the red key is in a rare chest in the water tunnel B of the sewers. These items are necessary if you want to fight the super bosses. When you revisit these areas, you can see a bunch of demons or your subordinates have taken up refuge in different areas. Some of these super bosses will have you do a series of minigames to unlock them. An example would be finding the right key for the Pyrojack asks you to go look for, which lets you fight King Frost. And I love this boss fight, it's so good. If you are underleveled, some of these fights will make you pull your hair out. While Human Beelzebub is a complete pushover, Fly Beelzebub will test you on how you should play the game and show you how much you suck at video games. One super boss that I was stuck on for at least 3 days was Orochi. Not because he's basically immune to everything but ice, it's because each head gets a turn, which is 8 turns, and if he crits, you might as well restart the game and rage quit. After you beat the first round of super bosses, you head back to the Carmen Temple and you see one of your teammates right outside the main pathway. He explains a powerful band of rookies came out of nowhere and have retaken the bases of their fallen leaders. This right here, this line of dialogue is perfect super boss setup. I don't know how else to explain it other than just mwah. It really immerses you inside the game. The dialogue from your teammate really hits home because they say, "You wouldn't abandon us, right, Surf?" It gives you the urgency of, I need to do this now or I'll lose everything that I fought for. There's one last super boss fight for those who are top tier masochists and love playing games on New Game Plus modes. I hope I was able to get my point across of why I think Digital Devil Saga 1 has some of the best world building and why it's my favorite Mega 10 game. Well, this pretty much wraps up the first part of the digital Devil Saga videos. While I was doing my research, I knew I wasn't going to be able to fit both games and the books into a single video. Woo! This video was a tough one to make if I'm going to be honest. 2 months of procrastination and script writing, I was dead. Speaking of script writing, thank you so much, LaRue, for helping me script this video out. You're the boy, you're the boo. Thank you so much. And also I wanted to thank my Twitch supporters because I wouldn't be able to make videos like these without the help of my Twitch community. If you have not checked out the stream, look at the great content you're missing out on. I would have starved to death and I'll see you guys in stream. I hope you guys have a wonderful day and I'll see you later.